All right, let's jump straight into today's explainer because we've got a truly bizarre historical anomaly to unpack. We're talking about a level of wealth so incomprehensibly massive it literally defies human logic, physics, and, well, even linear time. So our story kicks off right in the middle of a totally casual Tuesday at Cops Bay Airport. Picture this: Goonie Reth, wearing a collar woven from threads of pure dark matter spun by a dying star, is just stepping off his private jet. But as we're going to see, absolutely nothing about his routine is actually standard.
Just as Goonie Reth is flowing past these fountains of liquid stardust, he gets this message on COFCORD from Panda. And Panda casually drops a catastrophic global economic collapse into the chat. Like, he brings up one of the absolute darkest economic periods in human history as if it's just some funny little anecdote. Now, to even begin to understand how kickstarting the Great Depression could possibly be a casual oops moment, we really need to calibrate our brains to the sheer insane scale of Goonie Reth's existence.
So, let's talk scale. 92,280. That is the exact number of personal builders dispatched by Goonie Reth's automated payroll system just 3 hours before his plane even landed. Why? Well, simply because the standard VIP terminal at Coff Bay Airport was deemed slightly too humid for his optimal brewing temperature. And get this, he didn't even make a conscious request for this. His automated systems just handled it.
And they executed some staggering feats to fix that minor humidity issue. In a mere 3 hours, this workforce literally flattened an entire mountain range, imported hyperdense premium alloy from a parallel dimension, and constructed a completely new architectural marvel of a terminal right where his jet was descending. I mean, it was so aggressively premium it makes our global infrastructure look like a mud pie. And the wildest part of the whole shebang? Goonie Reth didn't even notice. To him, this wasn't amazing, because calling it amazing implies there's a level of wealth he hasn't bought yet. For him, this was just a standard Tuesday.
Which brings us to his extreme detachment from reality, highlighted in another conversation. So, while tapping on his phone, which, by the way, is carved from a single sentient crystal that communicates via telepathy, Goonie Reth gets a message from Tingo. Tingo calls him crazy rich. Now, for us, that's a huge compliment, right? Or at least a statement of all. But in Goonie Reth's world, oh man, this leads to a massive misunderstanding of scale.
The crucial thing to understand here is Goonie Reth's sheer offense at the term. To him, crazy rich is a deeply derogatory label. He literally considers people who merely own 3 continents to be living in absolutely disgusting poverty. He explicitly tells Tingo, "Do not insult me with such a low-tier label." And this perfectly illustrates his total detachment from normal value. You see, right before this chat, Goonie Reth had gifted Tingo a sprawling 10-bedroom penthouse in the heart of Kuala Lumpur. For Tingo, that's basically a sovereign ecosystem. But Goonie Reth, he actually felt profound embarrassment leaving his friend in what he called impoverished quarters. He genuinely felt that handing over a 10 BHK apartment was the financial equivalent of tossing a rusty penny at a beggar. He literally only held back and gave him the apartment because he didn't want to overwhelm Malaysian airspace by gifting him a floating galaxy. I mean, no way, right? So this brings us to the core question of our explainer. If he's this incredibly far removed from human concepts of value, how exactly does he accidentally trigger the Great Depression? To see how this all connects, we have to jump back to the late 1920s. See, because Goonie Reth transcends linear time, he just decided to casually vacation in 1929. Why? Literally just to see what the atmosphere was like before color was fully commercialized.
And the historic disaster all started on a Tuesday in October, stemming from a profound misunderstanding in a private bank gallery. First, Goonie Reth's liquid surface tension accidentally brushed against a framed historical artifact, which was just a standard wrinkled US $1 bill. Now he had never seen something so aggressively miserable. Convinced this ugly green paper was either a weaponized mimetic hazard or advanced alien garbage, he was so deeply offended that his crema actually rippled in pure disgust. Then, his neural-linked smart wallet interpreted this sudden physical reaction as a strict emergency command: delete the asset. Operating seamlessly across the timeline, his automated trading algorithms completely rewrote the history of the 20th century in literal fractions of a second. In exactly 0.00001 seconds, the algorithm triggered. To destroy the concept of that $1 bill, it instantly shorted every single stock on the New York Stock Exchange. Within milliseconds, it aggressively liquidated assets, drained the entire global banking system of its liquidity, and locked the world's wealth into a digital singularity vault. The sheer speed of this is just mind-boggling. By the time Goonie Reth had simply calmed his surface ripples and taken a sip of water to clear his palate, the damage was completely done. Billions vanished,
Worldwide banks collapsed. Citizens lined the streets. The Great Depression was fully underway entirely because a sentient espresso puddle was grossed out by a dollar bill. Now, as impartial reporters of this lore, we've got to highlight why this was strictly an accident. Gunnerath definitely didn't do this maliciously. In fact, he actually bought the concept of morality back in 2004 and immediately deleted it, so he simply doesn't have morals. But more importantly, intentionally causing an economic collapse would require him to acknowledge that the working class, or the poor, even exist. For him, admitting people like us exist is a massive conceptual faux pas. It's entirely beneath his lack of a tax bracket. Because you know, tax brackets for entities constrained by math, and Gunnerath literally owns math.
Completely unfazed by the macroeconomic scar he left on human history, this is exactly how he replies to Panda on Kofcord. I simply clean my glasses. That sounds like a personal problem for the peasants. After firing off that definitive response, he locks his crystal phone and literally pours his liquid form into the backseat of a limousine made of literal starlight, right before complaining that the air conditioning felt a bit too upper class, because obviously even upper class is way below him.
So to wrap up this explainer, we have to consider the extreme relativity of wealth within this lore. If a being is so detached that gifting a sprawling penthouse is an insult, and deleting the global economy is just an automated reflex to a dirty piece of paper, well, what else might just be a cosmic accident? It's a fascinating, hilarious, and ultimately catastrophic butterfly effect of total detachment. Thanks for hanging out with me for this deep dive. Keep questioning the scale of the universe around you, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.